Big round of applause for Rati, everybody.
So I hate India. Mostly because there are just so many things my traditional Indian family won't let me do when I'm there. I can't wear shorts. I can't go anywhere by myself. I can't be happily unmarried and childless. All of their cultural rules just kind of ruin the whole country for me. So I typically avoid going. But a few years ago, I decided to travel over the holidays around northern India with my friend Jeet, my gay Indian bestie from college, and his friends Tommy and Lawrence. I figured that India might actually be fun if I went with 3 borderline alcoholic gay boys instead of family. So Jeet was the India expert, so he planned the whole trip, and it was awesome. We went to temples and forts, we went ziplining, it was crazy. And then we got to Jaisalmer for New Year's Eve. Now, Jaisalmer is this super ancient fort town thing in the middle of the Rajasthan desert. It's pretty, but there's not a whole lot to do, especially for New Year's Eve. But thankfully, we found this great resort with a pool and complimentary masala omelets, and most importantly, a big New Year's Eve gala, complete with DJ and open bar. So we were gonna be fine. So we got to the resort, took a couple disco naps, and headed down to the gala. Now, this gala turned out to be more of a fancy barbecue of sorts, but there was a DJ and open bar as promised. So we got ourselves some tandoori kebabs and vodka sodas and sat down near the dance floor. And as I took in the scene around me, I noticed that there were only maybe like 4 other women there. A few wives and a few daughters, all in either saris or big chunky sweaters. I was the only single young female in attendance, because in many parts of India, it's still considered socially unacceptable for a woman of a certain age and marital status to go out at night unescorted. And no, 3 homosexual men don't count as proper escorts. And to make matters worse, I was wearing this like short sleeveless little party dress. So my 28-year-old unmarried limbs were probably the only bare body parts in a 50-mile radius. Now, if I was a family, they would have told me to go put on pants and not call any attention to myself. But I was with the boys, and the boys told me to chug my vodka and hit the dance floor. So I chugged my vodka and I hit the dance floor, and I was hair flipping and booty popping, as one does on New Year's Eve. Now, if I was in LA, I would have just been another basic bitch on the dance floor. But in India, even as an Indian, I stood the fuck out. By midnight, I had a fully captive audience of strange Indian men cheering and clapping and cheering me on. Some of the men were taking pictures of me. Some were circling rupees around my head. One guy kept saying, "Madam, you are the star of this party." And you know what? I was. At 1 a.m., the DJ had to stop playing music because the party was scheduled to end, but when he did, the entire party, including the entire hotel staff, all men, of course, started begging him to keep playing music so that I could keep dancing. I ended up being the unofficial entertainment of the evening, which wasn't that weird. I once danced in a Flo Rida music video, so of course they wanted an encore. So Jeet stepped up as my manager and said that I would only dance to one more song. So the DJ played our favorite Bollywood jam, and I soloed on stage in front of my adoring male fans one last time. So then the boys and I made a grand diva exit out of the party, and we went upstairs and hung out on the balcony hallway outside of our hotel rooms, just chain smoking and talking about how ridiculous the night was. And while we were there, these two Indian dudes kind of just joined our little party, and it was totally harmless until one of them rubbed up against me with his boner. So at that point, I decided to call it a night, and I went into my room. But a few minutes later, there was a knock on my door, and it was the boner dude. And he said, "Sorry, miss, but do you have any protection?" And I was like, "You mean like a condom?" And he goes, "Yes, condom." Now, I actually did have condoms stashed in my first aid kit between the Mylanta and Z-Pack, but I was pretty sure that this was just his way of trying to have sex with me. So I wasn't interested. So I said no, and I sent him away. And as I closed the door, it hit me that these men didn't think I was a dancer. They thought I was a dancer. Because what other type of Indian girl would behave in such a manner that I did unless she was a slutty whore? An Indian girl who should probably listen to her family when she's in India. That's who. Thank you.
Keep it going for Rati.